The next step that we're going to do is to define our factor to study the actual underlying stock itself, and basically using the sentiment signal from Sendex as our factor and see how it actually performs. Now, a couple of things that we want to do is that we want to actually do what we did before, is that we want to avoid trading around earnings announcement. And the second thing we want to avoid is stocks that's acquisition target. I explained before, I'll explain again. When a stock is being acquired, usually there's actually a price tag that is being offered. So let's just say a company is being offered $50 a share. It's not likely that the share price is going to trade too far away from that price. So we're going to look at the free version of the data sets, and because we're going to perform this analysis, we're going to use the Quantopian pipeline. Okay, so I'm not going to type all of these, but I will explain. So from Quantopian.pipeline, we import pipeline, and from the Quantopian research, we import run pipeline so that we can actually run pipeline within the research environment. And we are going to import the Q1500 US stock universe from the filters. And also we're going to import the Quantopian pipeline.data.sendex and then import sentiment. Well, actually, I'm not using the free version. I'm just using the actual full version of it. But I'm not going to look at the whole period of time. I'm just going to look at just 1 year period only. So the next couple of line of codes basically say that, look, import these libraries for me. I'm going to need to make use of them. And I also import whether from the event vector, whether this company or whether the company is actually an acquisition target. And finally, we want to import from the factors library how many business days since the previous events. Okay, this is our make pipeline function. So this is how we define it. The sentiment factor is sentiment.sentiment signal latest. So we import from Sendex library the variable called sentiment or dataset called sentiment, and we are zooming into the sentiment signal which we studied earlier. So let me just scroll up just to help refresh your memory a little bit. Remember, this is what we plot earlier, and when we look at the actual table data frame itself is sentiment signal. So that's the reason why we play around with the data, so that when we come around to actually create our pipeline, we know what variable to actually call up. And latest basically means is a daily value. Okay, so the next thing that we want, the next few lines is, okay, make sure that we're gonna ignore stocks that is near earnings announcement. This basically say it is 2 days before. 2 days before announcements. Yes, and this one is 2 days after announcement. Okay, and not a target. We don't want the stock to be a target. And this one is whether there's any new sentiment signal that has actually come through. So in this universe that we are selecting, we are choosing the Q1500 US universe, and the sentiment factor must contain a value, or we're gonna just skip not now. Any that's a now value. We don't want to be near earning announcement. We don't want to trade if the company is an acquisition target. And finally, has there been any new information that comes through? With all of that, this is our universe, and we're going to return to our, when you actually call this function, we're going to return this variable called pipe. And for the pipeline, the columns is going to be, it's going to have 2 columns. One is called sentiment, and we're going to rank them and on a daily basis. And the sector, we're just going to use the Morningstar sector. So let me just run this. And okay, right. So now we are going to run the pipeline. So using the run pipeline function we imported earlier, we're going to run the make pipeline, which is this function we defined for the period of 2013 December 1st and 2014 December 1st. So something, okay, yes, I was wondering about that. I did not import this, so let's just run that again. Right, the pipeline has finally finished running. So what I'm going to do is just to pull out the because I know this is a data frame, we're going to have a look at the first few values, and this is what it looks like. Notice that the sentiment value can be actually similar because of the ranking scheme that we use for this. So having done that, we're going to move on next to analyze the actual factor itself to see if there are indeed any signal that is actually embedded in this. So I'm going to label the heading here called Analyze Our Factors using AlphaLens.